This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring defense attorney, Hidden Killers daily contributor, and host of the Defense Diaries podcast, Bob Motta.
I do have a question about the digital forensic evidence. We really haven't seen a whole lot of this. We heard the mention of what was from the ex-wife, but we don't have any experts on the stand here to really verify it. We don't have anybody verifying that this was, from the old phone. We don't have anything on what the two of them were communicating about, what she was communicating about with her mother on text. And that's usually a big piece of these cases. I think we were speculating the other week that this case is going to be decided on that, but none of that was even introduced. Why?
Yeah. Well, I think for a couple of reasons. Like the most substantive portion of texting came in through the one cop who was going through during the state's case in chief when he was reading a lot of the text messages between Ashley and Doug. But those were really just like they were trying to couch it in the light that, oh, look, like Ashley still loved Doug. Mm-hmm. Everything that she's saying about him being abusive, like why is she being so sweet to him? Why is she playing heads up with them in a restaurant with, where they're all having fun and laughing just days before the homicide takes place? So we see those, but in terms of, I think that there was probably some stipulations to authentications as to the digital forensics in terms of getting them in. So like typically, like I was saying during our live, like if we have text messages we get in or we're trying to get in, we will typically call a representative for whoever the carrier is, even if it's just somebody who works at a local store to come in and say, yes, I'm a representative of this, this company, and I can authenticate that these are what our messages look like when we're sent from the company. So they must have stipulated getting those in, that they're authentic. So the authentication part wasn't an issue. I think the other thing that you have going on in this case is, again, remember, you have to look at everything through the lens of they're going through litigation. There is a child involved. There is a GAL involved. The courts are hyper vigilant about looking into, and the one thing that I don't know that is interesting to me is like in our state, we have various apps that are used for parents that have a real hard time communicating with one another. Like they call it Our Family Wizard. There's a few of them. Mm-hmm. And the point of those is that they're ordered to only communicate through those. And the reason is because everyone has eyes on those. The judge can see it. The GALs can see the chats. So what that does is that forces people to be on their best behavior in those chats because you're on the grid. They're watching and seeing what you're saying. And in light of the fact that this is all going on between these two people, you have to realize that there's an injunction in place between Doug and Ashley, as well as the dissolution for marriage petition is filed. They probably weren't saying a lot that would be helpful to figuring out what happened in this case because they were both in that situation where they know if they're going to text something that is, outrageous one way or the other, that the other person's immediately sending that to their lawyer. Mm-hmm. That's how that game works. Yeah. I mean, anytime I'm in divorce cases, it's like I'm getting like, oh, this is what my ex just sent me. See what it says, or this is what my future ex just sent me. And it's like awful things being said, or it's threatening. I'm not going to let you see the kids, or whatever the case may be. So, like, I think that's why we're missing a lot of these what would potentially be smoking gun text messages because they were both on their best behavior.
Yeah, because there wasn't any.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. It was kind of surprising that not more of that had come out. But again, if there's nothing to come out, then there's nothing to come out. Right. It's fascinating. We're probably going to end up to the jury here pretty soon. Like I said, by the time someone's watching this, we already have a verdict. Where do you think it's going to land?
Well, it was funny. Like I was saying in our chat, about halfway in, we put up a poll of her direct, and it was very close. Like I said, it was like 52-48, 52 believed her, 48 did not. Like just the messaging in the chat. And we try to keep our chat very tight. We don't we want people to have, we don't want it to be an echo chamber. We want people to be able to debate, but keep it respectful. Right. Sure. But it gets heated. And what I started to see is like a lot of people their mind's going to Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like every single domestic violent case is different.
It's different. Yeah.
Every individual is different. Every single person's interpretation of an event is different. Like you can't do that. That's not how it works with these types of cases. But after the text between Renee and Doug came out, we did a second poll.
Yeah.
And that came back, dude, it skyrocketed. I think it ended up at 73-27 that they believed her. So that's what I'm saying. You have to have context. You have to have that context of what was really going on in this relationship. And it's very, very insightful for us to be able to see how Doug was acting with his past wife. All that to say, I wouldn't be surprised if this came back hung.
That's what I've been saying the last couple of days. I agree. It's been powerful. It's gone far more in her favor than I was expecting. But again, this is why we have trials. So this information can come out and we can fairly judge what the hell happened here, not just what we're hearing before it. You know, we've talked about this with Karen Reed. This is why we don't get into camps beforehand. This is why we hear all the evidence. And it's been fascinating. No doubt we'll have to see where this lands.
Want more of the podcast without the ads?
Then hit subscribe to the True Crime Today Premium Plus channel on Apple Podcasts.
Try it now for 3 days, absolutely free.
You'll get access to all of our extended advance ad-free episodes instantly.
So you can binge without the break. True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Search and subscribe now on Apple Podcasts.